Hey everybody, John Soriano here, and I'm doing this live to cover a useful little way to decrease the emotional impact of a memory. And the first thing we kind of need to do is look at how memories are coded, because how they're coded in the brain will lead to how you can manipulate that coding and decrease an emotional charge. Now, this way of going about doing it, we're going to play with this a little bit with a not so intense memory, because intense memories will need a little bit more tricks and tools with it. But just to kind of give you an idea of how this works. So the memory encodes in the modalities of how we see the world and input information, right? So you have visual, you have auditory, you have kinesthetic, you have smell, and you have taste. Any of these could be in a memory in varying quantities. Okay. Now, depending on what your main modalities are, those will be the stronger ones. Okay. So when you experience a memory or when you have a memory triggered, it'll trigger primarily off of one of the primary ways you've coded it. So, for example, um, a smell could trigger a memory, right? If that was the primary way you did it or how you linked it in your mind. Same with visual and all the others, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to play with the modalities and what's called submodalities, which are the components of the modalities. So in other words, in a visual modality, the submodalities would be things like, is it in color or black and white? Is it close or far away? Does it take the entire field of view? Or is it in one particular area? Is it bright or not so bright? Things like that. So we're going to walk through this process of changing the submodalities around of the modalities of a memory that you're not too keen on. Again, not one that's freaking you out because I can't get to where you are and pull you out of a ceiling, but just to give you an idea of how you can begin to control your mind and to control your brain. So let's pick a memory, okay? One that kind of bothers you, it's not that great, and you'd like to not have it bother you at all anymore. You want to change the feeling of the memory or how it impacts you, okay? So take a minute and do that. And just get in touch with one. It doesn't feel so great. Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is really step into that memory and notice what you see. And is it in color or black and white? A large number of times, a memory that's kind of it's bothering you is in color. But not always, but a lot of times it is. So if it is in color, is it bright? Is it in front of you, or is it a full panoramic kind of thing like you're in it? What are you hearing in this memory? Now, do you hear it close by, or is it further away? Do you hear it clearly, loudly? And what do you feel in your body? Is there a tension anywhere? Heaviness, perhaps? Sensations in your throat or in your stomach? Notice all those kind of things. We'll play with those main three for now. Now, if your memory is in color, begin fading that color in your mind. You may even shift it all the way to black and white. And if it's a full panoramic kind of view, begin to shrink it down. And if you see it close, start pushing it further away. Now, as you're doing all this, begin to notice the change in feeling. It's not feeling nearly as intense, I imagine. Same thing with the sound. If it was close by, push the sound further in the distance. And begin to lower the volume. So it's something very, very low. You can barely hear it way out in the distance. And whatever those sensations, physical sensations were, if they were feeling heavy, lighten it. Lighten it up. You could even take those sensations and push them out of your body. So they're out there somewhere in front of you. Now check in and notice how different that feels. Okay, if you've led through the process correctly, you should have noticed some kind of shift in how that memory was feeling and how it was impacting you. And the reason you will feel a shift and a difference is because you've changed the code. You've changed how your brain is processing this memory. So a key way to, when you think of something and it really starts to bother you, a key way to make that not bother you anymore is to play with these submodalities. Notice what you're seeing, notice what you're hearing, notice what you're feeling. Some of you may notice what you smell. You could play with that too. Notice there might even be a taste. Play with that too. The three main ones will create a lot of shifts for you, though: the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. So practice with those. Practice with playing with the submodalities of how your memories are encoded, and begin to enjoy that control that you'll now have over your own brain. And I'll see you in the next broadcast. Take care.